Yo, yo, yo. What do we think is going to happen tonight then? Yo, LJ, how you doing, man? I wonder what nurse we're going to get. Melee nurse, 100%. I'm going to nerf melee. So then swords is super overpowered. Where's all the enemies, man? Right down that way, innit? GTA 6 trailer out in, what, 25 minutes as well? I'm going to drop a mirror this stream. Get the music. Black Sabbath into Cascada. You can't beat it. I get this feeling every time we kiss. I want it so high. Rarity. Yo, how you doing, man? Just checking that. I swear GGG just went live. Oh, they are live, yeah. I thought so. I was like, I swear they're live. Look. Let's put them there. Actually, let's put them down. We'll put them there. Is that ill, man? You're not. I thought you were on game, were you? Yeah, you're on game. Oh. Did you buy the +3 for Flicker Strike? Not yet. To be fair, you probably don't need it, mate. All I've been doing prior to COVID was find my arbiter. Right, look on him. What, the arbiter of Ash or the arbiter of Sin? Ash. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I was gonna buy +3 to Flicker Strike. I got offered it over there. The guy said, "Oh, do you want it?" It's like, "I'll get you it." I was like, "Nah, you're right." Like, it'll give me an extra 6.6 million DPS, but it'll probably put me to about, I don't know what it'll put me to be fair. Like, my Flicker Strike's not too bad. It's 386,000. I ain't got an Headhunter or Mage, bud. Oh, you were easy, weren't you? He's got me. Take your time to trust in me. You will find. Mine's actually really low, to be fair. Bloody frozen, man. It does me head in. Crazy, like how much it affects you, like that frozen slow. I hate it. Just gonna, like, give me something good, man. How good Ice Strike is, you can literally just like boom, 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 boom. Punch through it all. That's a fee. Don't forget to do this. I forgot to do this last time. Yeah, all slows. An awful mana drain. Yeah, the mana drain ring of death thing, that's awful, is that? That got me killed over there. That there. I'll just get all these, man. Woo! Rapido Martinez. There's an enemy. Where is it? Not there. Worst that mini boss this season are those who's running fly. Yeah, yeah. Uh, 13,000 tribute. You know what I mean? Look, I'm just not gonna get anything. offering 9,000 tribute to the king. Well, that's not bad. Oh my god, why is there no city maps? Where are all my city maps? Ugh. Like, how am I meant to farm stuff if I can't have city maps? Like, they're all here. But the shit. Oh yeah, I know. I've only had like a +10 one. Is that better? That camera angle's better. I look actually tall. Camera makes me look tiny. Uh, to be fair, 200% Delhi maps are probably the best maps. When I'm better, we should be farming because heck boring. Yeah. Well, 0.5, 0.5.5 is today, and it's like, well, it's coming out. Oh. Isn't that actually worth something? Yeah. Unidentified, it's 4 div. Boom! You've done everything, haven't you? Why do I have no mana? How is my mana like? Why is my mana so crap? I've got mana remnants. Oh, I ain't even got them, mate. Don't worry about it. I want a mirror, mate, but we can't. We can't always have things that we want.
Hold this medallion for you.
Hey. Oh, I forgot to do the. Oh my god, I forgot to do the guy. To place the rooms. Ah, what an idiot.
No matter the path, I'll walk it.
Da-da-da-da-da. Hey, bloody hell. You're okay, Annie. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay, Annie. What am I doing? this way.
This medallion's rather beautiful.
Why can't I got that chip on there? Stupid game.
You have come too far. If my design never fails.
Why can't I use my moves?
Calculating frost.
So I'm being an idiot. Yeah, why can't I watch? Oh. Right. So I've got that. So why can't I watch? Why can't I watch? There we go. Right, so I can place these now. Complete. Oh, I'm only allowed to pick one out. Oh, there we go. I'm watching GTA. Oh, it looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Can you hear it? Why is the woman in a thong like in the middle of somewhere else? Why is the like entrance just exactly the same as GTA 5? Guy's fridge is loaded. It's looking good so far, is this? Looking good. Perfect timing. That's at 8 o'clock. Then at 8:30. Boom. Got a new controller and headset build on fridge. Color Valen. Unlucky, mate. Unlucky. Get GTA trailer watched. That's what I'm watching now. Frameless look alright. Sits on normal PlayStation 5. I'm still here, everyone. I'm just literally watching GTA at the same time. I do apologise. I'd show you about get banned. Literally perfect timing. 4 minutes and then P restarts, and I've got 4 minutes left of this. I'm just watching GTA trailer. I know. This has got 1 minute and 20 seconds left. You're joking me, an advert? Where's like all this? Where's the thing for me to subscribe and stuff like that? What's going on, man? Right. Mate, my thingy is gone. Like, my My Twitch is gone. My Twitch is literally not working. It's not working. Oh, my internet's not working. Something's gone wrong. Oh, what a joke, man. I've been sat here waiting for this to load and it's just not working. Stupid, gate. Stupid. Well, I can see it. I can see it on my tablet. I'm watching it on my tablet. Somehow I'm watching it on my tablet, but I'm not. But I can't watch it on my on my PC for some reason. Something went wrong. Oh, there we go.
And stunts though, it will send out a bunch of mini sand
Look, why is it doing
every
this?
enemy it hits. Perfect for large packs. Together, these basic abilities give a very unique feel to sword combat. It's quite different than any other class we've made, flowing from ability to ability.
Look, I
There's
can't use
also
my
some
prime
abilities
sub or
that you can
anything.
use while in ready stance, without breaking it. A good example are war cries, like this one, Intimidate.
Oh well.
Use it to deliver a cutting insult to your foe, intimidating them and causing your next attack to knock them off balance. Another great ability you can use already is Rending Dash. This movement skill slices through monsters. But since you stay in ready stance, it allows you to reposition to the perfect angle to strike. So far, we've been using sand stance to tackle these enemies. But what about blood stance? For that, we'll need to switch from two-hand to dual wield. Now with swords, we wanted to make sure that the different options of one-hand, two-hand, or dual wield each have their own interesting playstyle. So unlike other weapon types, dual wielding swords gives you the ability to parry attacks. Follow up with Bloodied Blade to enter blood stance. When using this one with default attack, you'll create a deadly blood wave, causing
You
your
see the
enemies
block
to bleed.
yesterday.
And of
You see the
course,
block
blood
yesterday,
stance
though.
will also work with other skills that benefit from stances.
Like
So
that,
use it with
the
Perforate,
block,
for
I don't
example,
like that.
And you'll get a bunch of mini blood novas.
I'm being
Once
honest.
your enemies are bleeding, you might want to try out Hemorrhage. This skill creates deadly blood slashes that drastically speed up the bleeding on your enemies. And once the enemies have built up enough blood loss, slice through them with a rending dash to consume all the blood loss for a giga bleed.
I was born for this.
Now one skill we couldn't have made the Duelist without is Cyclone. It's an absolute fan favorite, and just like before, when using it, you can spin to win. But this class is all about using stances, so how about we try it with one of those? Use Cyclone from Sand Stance, and you'll be spewing sand discs at your enemies left and right.
My Twitch
Great,
is totally gone, you
very
know.
clear. Now parry also had a significant upgrade compared to before, and it's a lot more reliable now. But there's also another way to parry monsters that doesn't require waiting for them to attack you. By switching to a shield, you can now bash enemies straight out of ready stance to parry them without waiting for an attack.
Wonder if I've been blocked. Wonder if I've been banned from Twitch.
During the arena's heyday, challengers would first have to face deadly beasts to test their mettle, so why should it be any different now? Before you can face Thrax, you will need to defeat these dangerous adversaries to prove your worth. Another trick the Duelist has up his sleeves are buried blades.
It's just not doing all that.
Earthrend creates blades that slice through the ground towards your enemies. And once in the ground, these blades have a few uses. The first one of these can be done using Charged Slash. The basic version is a simple lightning-infused cleave, but do it from ready stance, and it changes into a deadly spin, sending out lightning projectiles. But Charged Slash can also be used with the buried blades. Hitting them will turn them into mini Tesla coils, dealing
that's
lightning
cool.
damage to nearby enemies.
It's very cool.
It seems here we have a warrior who refused to die. I'm sure we could put his equipment to better use.
Oh.
Quiet. I've no guilt in this.
You could also switch to a two-hander to plunge your blade into the ground, sending out a set of 3 blades that explode.
I missed the
If
first
you
bit.
use Earthrend first, then you can get even more blades, and the blade plunge will make all of them explode. If you want an even greater field
His
of
sword's
blades,
coming in
using ready
0.555.
stance with Earthrend has an interesting effect. Instead of creating one blade, it makes an entire wall of them. You can also hold
That
the
looks
blade
cool.
plunge skill to charge up the swords even further before they explode. Ooh, watch out for those chimeras. So for maximum damage, use ready stance into Earthrend, charge them up with Charge Slash, and do a held blade plunge for a massive explosion. But that's not all. Blood and Sand work with the blade plunge too, to empower all your buried blades. Use it with sand to generate continuous sandstorms around all your blades. And this can be a devastating combo to blend
This looks
bosses.
cool.
Or use it with blood to create blood pools around each blade. Cycloning through the blood pools will add blood to your cyclone, so that can be a fun option. But while we're talking about that, Cyclone counts as a storm, so it can pick up other elemental ground effects too. Blade Conduit will summon a bolt of lightning to your blade and create shocking ground, and cycloning through it will add lightning to your cyclone.
Oh, nice.
Combine it with the blood to get both effects. And of course, it's
Oh,
possible
look
to
how
get
good that
blood,
looks.
Sand, ice, fire, and lightning all at the same time on your cyclone. You guys will have to work out a good build for that yourselves. Already you can see from just the tools I've shown you, this class has a lot of interesting combinations of abilities. With even just a few skills, there are a huge number of options you can do in combat. Now before we get to the boss fight of this area, there's just one more skill I'd like to show you. World Cutter. Charge it up and unleash the ultimate slash. But that's not all. Like so many of the Duelist abilities, it can be further enhanced with Blood Stance, or Sand Stance too. Alright, so those are just a few of the tools the duelist has at his disposal. So let's use them to face the true threat, Thrax, the champion of the arena.
This is Act 5, isn't it? Oh, I like that he's damaging the floor. That was cool. Oh, some frame rate. This boss fight looks well good. Another easy boss. Actually, I missed it. Is it coming 0.5? 0.55? I don't know. I missed it as well. My Twitch were just playing up. I thought I was like, oh, I've got it open. It's on my screen, and then I just looked on Twitch, and it was showing like a countdown, and the next minute I had an advert. I couldn't resubscribe, and it just all messed up. I was like, oh well, whatever. So yeah, I missed it.
So that's a taste of what we have in store for the duelist. It's my favorite class I've ever worked on, and provides a really dynamic combat experience that's just quite unlike any other ARPG. But we also wanted to show what kind of possibilities there are for the duelist in the endgame. To do that, I'll hand things over to Mark.
Oh, this is what you want to see.
I'm Mark Roberts.
This is what I got slagged off on
Path of
Twitter.
Exile. Today, we're going to go through 2 in-game
There we
builds
go, look.
put
There's
together
mob
for the
density.
duelist made by our developers. Our first build is called the Bringer of Blades, a mighty name once feared in the arena. This build is all about rising buried blades from beneath the ground. Some say each sword created by this build is from a foe slain in battle in the gladiator arena.
That is cool.
And from the afterlife, they offer their sword back to you in respect. The bread and butter of this build uses Earthrend, supported by the lineage support Calm's Madness, to maximize the efficiency of creating
Additional
buried
fissures.
blades. It combines that with the Blade Conduit skill, to charge up all the blades with lightning. You can also use the Astral Projector support on it to be able to do so from ranged, if you want to minimize risk and play shock ground underneath your enemies. We also have Earthrend supported by Electrocute, so that we can keep the enemies crowd controlled. Then it's just simple. Spam Earthrend, occasionally using Blade Conduit to refresh the charged lightning on all the blades. For stronger enemies, or larger packs, we want to be able to get
They'll
sand
probably repeat it
stunts.
at the end.
The best way
Sure,
to do that
if not
while
bloody hell.
clearing
I know,
is
imagine
using
if this comes in
combat
0.5.
Simple.
I don't think it's coming in
Now you're generating
0.55.
frenzy charges. With those, we can use Sand Scour to enter sand stunts.
I can check Twitter right
From
now.
sand stunts, use Blade Plunge to cause sand discs to appear on all of our many buried blades, covering the screen in storms of sand. Of course, you want to use eroding sands too, because as the sand discs are doing many small hits, you want to make sure enemies have as little armor as possible for maximum damage. Alongside that, since we're doing lightning
Can't
damage,
see anything.
we're also going to throw in the new support Sandstorm, which causes our sand discs to become infused with lightning. The other tool we're using is this support, which causes all your buried blades to add miniature auras that give you damage. To double down on
This
that
looks
third
so
one,
good.
we have this new passive skill Notable, which also causes your buried blades to make you angry, causing you to generate rage on hit while near them. With
Yeah, I know.
those, we want even more buried blades. So, let's take it to the extreme.
Like, I'm
And
not a
for
massive
that, we have
combo guy,
this
but
Rain of Steel. which allows
at
you
this.
to call
It
down
looks
a
so
whole
good.
ruckus of swords, covering the entire battlefield in buried blades. It's pretty obvious what to do next. Just use the existing combos, and the entire screen becomes surging with lightning as
Oh,
sand
something
discs
dropped.
run wild.
Something dropped then. Did you hear it?
There's more coming even still. Alongside the Duelist, we've made a
Oh,
whole
katana.
bunch of new epic swords. I mean, just look at them all. This build in particular uses this sword, which causes all your buried blades to be enhanced by Karui magic and become ancestrally boosted. Then, take these new passive skill notables specifically for boosted
Onslaught,
attacks
Intimidate,
to improve your efficiency even further.
and Glory.
There's a few new ways to boost attacks with the Duelist, and we're excited for you to discover and integrate them into your builds. With all that combined, look at this actual mayhem.
Nah, this looks good.
Now, we tried to not use unique items on this build, as we wanted to show its potential with just standard gear and skills. But this next one is a different story. So, let's move on to our second build. Here we have the Scourge Walker.
That's endurance charges.
We wanted to do Cyclone with a twist. For that, we're going to use some uniques, starting with a new sword being introduced alongside the Duelist, Oro's Sacrifice.
Oh,
This sword grants a ton of fire damage, at the expense of your physical damage, and grants
increased
a
attack
new
speed,
skill
hits with it,
called
always
Infernal
ignite,
Step.
gain extra fire, and gain a
Infernal
frenzy
Step
charge.
itself is pretty fun.
Oh my god,
and
flicker!
pretty epic. Use it as you flicker around, burning enemies as you strike them. Be wary though. There are both upsides and downsides to using this skill consecutively.
2 times plus
Each use
1
gains you a stack
per
of
free sacrificial flame.
While this isn't inherently a downside, using Infernal Step while you have Sacrificial Flame causes you to take fire damage, and the more you have, the more you take. So you want to make sure you mitigate as much fire damage taken as possible. In order to do this,
Okay.
we're using even more uniques. Like these, which have received some changes. Molten Tenet and Zoph's Blood.
Whoa, 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 did you see that there?
Then we've just gone and used good
It's got a
armor
jewel.
gear in our
It's got a
core
jewel
armor
socketed
slots
in.
to stack up as much defense as possible. So, what about damage? We're doing a few things here that are pretty out there. Given we're using Oro's Sacrifice, we're dealing purely fire damage. However, we still need to be able to bleed for some huge DPS you'll see soon. To do that, we're using this unique ring, Blistering Bond. This allows our fire damage to scale bleeding, instead of physical damage. Our last
Oh, this
unique
is
is
cool.
Barracks Respite. As said originally,
Critical
we
damage
want
bonus
to
while
cycle,
shock. Wind skills
which
we
is a
boosted at
wind
element
skill,
ground.
and can benefit from elemental ground surfaces. Now, our Cyclone is a fiery vortex. One last thing to note before showcasing our Scourge Walker in action is that Oro's Sacrifice also grants you frenzy charges while at maximum sacrificial flame. This will allow us to fold Bloodied Blade into our rotation between Cyclone sessions to get Blood Enhanced Cyclone. Alright, now you can see our basic rotation. First, we use Infernal Step a few times. Then, once we have a frenzy charge, we use Bloodied Blade. This puts us in blood stance. And then it's simple. Cyclone away. As you can see, we have the perfect harmony of demonic powers. Blood and fire fill the screen. Honestly though, we need to add some horror and flesh to the build to really embrace the fantasy. For that, let's use this new support gem, which we will put on our Cyclone. Given we're already bleeding, this can cause enemies to shed chunks of flesh when hit, which explode after a short delay.
Oh, that's
Check
cool.
out this ruckus. Oh, and while we're at it, let's add even more fire by using
Trigger fan the flames by
Flame
hitting
support.
ignite enemy.
At this point, you can already see how much this is getting.
Imagine that
out
with
of
Herald of
control.
Ash as well,
I
with
love it.
overkill damage.
You may notice we have an excess of frenzy charges. So, you want to throw on Echoing Strikes, which consumes all your frenzy charges to cause our next Cyclone to create a bunch of Cyclones.
Oh my god!
Feel free to add Infernal Cry to the mix, cause why not? Okay, well it's already pretty damn strong, but we can push it further. What about single target? For that, we're going to make use of our second weapon set, and use a one-hand sword and Targe, which grants parry. However, Instead
Yeah, I
of using
agree.
a regular Taj, we're going to use this Runeforged Taj, which grants us a special version of parry that maintains its stances when used. So if you are in Blood stance and use it, you will remain in Blood stance afterwards. This includes while using the dashing parry that Jonathan mentioned earlier. We are going to want our parry debuff duration to be as long as possible, so we can spend more time spinning. To get that, we're using another new sword base type. This one adds base duration to parry. We've also then invested into as much parry duration in this weapon set as possible on new passives on the tree. Now, we can make this even better by using a new support that allows our parry to apply armor break. And to get it to benefit from our fire damage, we will anoint the Molten One's gift on our amulet. Now, our armor break causes enemies to take extra fire damage. So now, we just get into Blood stance using Bloody Blade, use parry,
Big fire buffs.
which dashes in, keeping us in Blood stance, then we cyclone our way to glory. Don't forget to also use Echoing Strikes once you get enough Frenzy Charges. You may have noticed we didn't show any Ascendancy classes. That's right, these builds weren't even Ascended, so their build potential goes so much higher.
Whoa.
And the Ascendancies are pretty epic. Here's some art to tease them.
Oh my
To
god, is
find
that
out more
Templar?
about that, you'll have to check them out when we show them at ExileCon later this year.
Damn.
We hope you enjoyed our Duelist demonstration. We're really excited to have you get your hands on it and start slicing and dicing throughout Rayclast. Now, Path of Exile 2's full 1.0 launch is later this year on December 11th. But if you just can't wait till then, next week we are doing our 055 update.
Oh, next week.
It
Okay.
includes a bunch of changes as well as a new event. Given that, it's finally time to talk about Forbidden Rites, a new event based on
Trial
the
of Chaos
Ritual loop
rework,
that
Faster
will be
Fortress,
starting with our
completion,
055 patch
Rune of
next
Elder,
week.
new tablet
But
type,
that's not all.
Abyssal
We also
Ravines,
have
new
a
endgame
massive
soul
overhaul
cores.
to the Trial of Chaos,
Oh,
some
nice.
new in-game Abyss content, and more. So, let's dive straight into it. The King in the Mists and his cultists, left unchecked, have spread their influence. By his will, the Nameless have been performing gruesome rituals throughout Rayclast, all the way from the forests of Ogham to the deserts of the Marrakech.
Oh my god, you got
and
rituals all the way
even
through
Usul
campaign.
and the Karui Islands, afflicting everything around them with a foreboding darkness. As you can see, they've been quite successful in their efforts. And if
This
not
is
stopped
cool.
soon,
I love
who
rituals.
knows what will become of Rayclast. During the Forbidden Rites event, your goal is to put an
Oh, he's
end
playing a
to
monk.
their various plans. In each area of the campaign, you'll find a ritual encounter. For those unfamiliar, these are effigies that are guarded by the Nameless and their servants. By defeating them within the ritual site, you can then activate the effigy and fight them again as they are revived by dark magic, all whilst various plagues will try to kill you. Defeating the revived monsters causes their blood to go to the effigy to be used as tribute. After the encounter, use the tribute you earned to acquire rewards. These rituals, unlike their in-game counterparts, will not exclusively reward unique items, and instead will give you a bunch of items useful for leveling, like
Oh, that's
currency
cool,
for
that's
crafting
cool.
your gear alongside a bunch of equipment. Ultimately, in every area, you get to kill some monsters and then go on a small shopping spree.
That's alright though.
However, we know people liked having unique item rewards from Ritual, and we wanted that to still be present in the campaign, but we just couldn't give one out in every single area. Throughout each act, 2 times, and once in each interlude part, you'll see these clusters of more epic ritual effigies on the world map. When you reach these areas, you'll notice that unlike normal, the effigies aren't just in a random location in the area,
boss location.
but they're on top of the area's boss fight. By completing these boss rituals, the boss will then be carried forward and added to the next ritual in the cluster in the next area, where you'll face it as part of an increasingly dangerous series of boss waves.
Yeah,
For
that's
example,
cool.
the first cluster you'll encounter is shown here, containing large effigies in Clearfell, Mudburrow, the Grelwood, and the Grim Tangle.
They're doing this though, so you can't speedrun
If you
campaign.
complete the ritual in Clearfell, the Hag boss will appear during the ritual in the Mudburrow, alongside the Devourer. Once you've completed that area, the ritual in the Grelwood will include Bramblegast, alongside the Hag and the Devourer.
Okay.
Then, to top it off, when you get to Grim Tangle, the ritual in that area will have its boss, the Rotten Druid, and the previous 3, totaling 4 boss fights and 1 epic final showdown.
Yeah, that's it.
That's where the
It
unique
means you don't have
rewards
to
come
worry
into
about
play.
a lot.
By completing these epic boss ritual encounters, you then get to spend your tribute on unique items. Given ritual is the content of the league, we wanted to make sure it worked in multiplayer well. Historically, only the creator of the area gets to spend tribute at the end, while your friends just have to watch. We've made some improvements to this experience. In 055, every party member earns their own tribute and
That's
can
good.
spend it on their own rewards.
That's
So
good.
no one has to miss out. In order to make it not too rewarding in groups, we've restricted it so party members are unable to reroll the shop and they have fewer options available to choose from.
Ah, okay.
So
I'm gonna, yeah.
that's the campaign.
So imagine
and
that,
the
you could just
multiplayer
literally
improvement. But
Run
what
6
about
men
the
and just
endgame?
re-roll rituals.
Given that ritual was already available to be added to your maps, well, once you reach the endgame, you'll still have ritual encounters in every area, and they'll still give unique items and omens, but we've added 1 extra mechanic here to add new difficulty and reward heights to your in-game maps. After completing rituals in endgame, you want to keep an eye out for this item, a Sacred Bloom, which you can spend tribute on to acquire. If you
Okay.
happen to find one, you can then use it and apply an entrance to the Wildwood to an in-game map of your choice on the Atlas. Then, when you enter that map, you'll find this entrance at the start of the area. By entering it, you're sent into the Wildwood. You have limited time here, but while in the Wildwood you can
I
find
can see it in the
wisps,
corner.
and you want to follow the trails of them and collect as many as possible. There are 3 different types of wisps: primal, vivid, and wild. When you then have to exit the Wildwood, the wisps are freed and will spread across the map, possessing and influencing many monsters. Primal wisps, when freed, can cause normal monsters to become magic monsters.
Oh.
Vivid wisps, when freed, can add additional modifiers to rare monsters. And wild wisps add rarity of items dropped to all monsters. If you're rarely lucky, keep an eye out for these sacred wisps. I wonder what they do. Of course, you can gather all 3 types of wisps if you really want to juice your maps. And by using ritual tablets, you can increase the amount of wisps found while in the Wildwood. Be warned though, while affected monsters drop better items, the wisps also empower them, making them considerably more difficult to defeat. So, that's the Forbidden Rites event. While it isn't a full league in the traditional
don't get why we
sense,
don't-
it gives you the
we
perfect
all
opportunity
don't
to
do
start in
campaign
a
in
fresh
groups.
economy.
People are on at the same
For
time
those
normally.
of you who enjoy having clear goals to work towards, this event league also introduces a new set of 8 challenges. These include completing the campaign rituals, defeating named rare monsters, reaching level 90, and more. Completing them will earn you 4 exclusive cosmetic rewards and a statue for your hideout to commemorate your success. Swarm your enemies with the Locust Footprint effect, and send your foes scurrying to their demise with the Locust Swarm Finisher effect. Fear the dark no longer with your Wildwood Guardian pet at your side, and level up in fashion with the Wildwood Affliction level up effect. Next, let's talk about the Trial of Chaos. Since Early Access launched, we've received a lot of feedback about the Trial of Chaos.
Yep.
It was just obvious that it wasn't good enough.
Nope.
So we've gone through pretty much every
awful.
part of this trial and made improvements across the board. There's so much to cover here, so let's just fire away with some of the more important changes. Starting with a banger, you can now leave the Trial of Chaos between rooms and resume later at your leisure.
Finally.
Alongside improving almost every aspect of the encounter types, we've made far more of the rooms just about slaying all the enemies, instead of the more specific objectives like escorting the statue or implanting soul cores. We've increased the size of that pesky elevator and made them more responsive. We've made the doors between rooms open quicker and from further away. We've shortened the distance between rooms to have less running. we've added a lot more inherent scaling to the area and to the Trial of Secumus too, to account for the lack of Atlas Tree. We've made the Trial Master only time freeze to spawn in all the monsters once at the start of the run, instead of in many of the rooms. On top of that, we have done a full pass on all the modifiers, making them significantly less dangerous at lower tiers, and rising to the same difficulty at their maximum tier. Additionally, all the modifiers now grant bonuses to item rarity too.
Oh,
The
that's cool.
modifiers now also have better descriptions, being more explicit about what danger you're signing up for. We've also added a new kind of modifier, called a wager modifier. These are meta mods that can significantly increase the danger and reward of your trial.
Oh.
For example, this one increases the tier of every modifier already applied to your run, but in exchange for that, doubles all the currency you've earned so far in the run. There's about a dozen of these, and they have some pretty interesting effects. Sometimes you want to apply them early in the run, other times late. They add a very cool dynamic element to the mod selection between rooms. The Uxmal the Beast Lord boss fight in the Trial of Chaos has had its arena redesigned entirely. Less flying, more attacking. The more significant elite monsters that spawn during the Trial of Chaos are now more dangerous, but more rewarding. Speaking of rewards, you can now also find these chests between each room to get some bonus items for your efforts. And
That's
the
good.
rewards available when choosing modifiers no longer offer random corrupted items, now exclusively offering only currency items and soul cores. Oh, and we've done a full balance pass on those too, to make them more powerful, alongside adding some new ones to the trial and endgame.
Skill speed for each corrupted gem.
Speaking of
Cool.
the trial and endgame, for those looking for a greater challenge, you'll no longer need to have to stop after 10 rooms. You can now continue all the way to room 30, with the difficulty and rewards escalating as you progress. Combined with the
Oh.
previously mentioned wager modifiers, the rewards of these runs can get very, very juicy. Reaching
You see
these
that?
later
4
runs
divine
will
orbs.
also allow you to obtain all 3 Trial Master fragments in a single run, giving skilled players a clear and reliable path towards facing the Trial Master rather than leaving their progress entirely to chance. We've moved the functionality of the wager currency mechanic from magic inscribed ultimatums that could drop from the Trial Master into the base mechanic. This can be accessed at the end of every 10th room. Overall, this is a much more polished version of the Trial of
That is
Chaos,
good.
and we think it addresses many of the concerns players have raised over the past several months. When we introduced the new endgame in Return of the Ancients, we wanted the journey through the fortress to feel epic, and it was. But your first time progressing through it, it is a massive undertaking. With a fresh economy, we wanted to make the fortress easier to complete, so in 055, we're making some changes. After completing the main questline, you can now just venture out of the fortress and find another Arbiter of Divinity key. By defeating this more difficult version of the boss, all remaining sections of the fortress will be automatically completed.
Oh, that's good.
Now, onwards to Abyss. We're introducing a new Atlas feature centered around it. We wanted to add more things to find when exploring the Infinite Atlas, so we've added these new abyssal ravines that can appear. Each map on the ravines has abysses in it, and as you complete each along it, the next map gets more and more rewarding as you push the Abyssal Legion back. When you reach the last map on the ravine, you'll have a guaranteed Abyssal boss encounter. The Forbidden Rites event will not have Runes of Aldo content in each area. But fret not. Pharaoh, Danig, and Expedition content is still going to be available in the Atlas as core, and that includes standard leagues. You can now continue to find expeditions in-game, but from Act 4 onwards.
Okay.
In the endgame, expedition tablets will now be available, allowing for some new levels of investment into the league. Such as having 2 full expeditions in just one area, alongside up to 2 standalone remnant encounters. With tablet mods, you can now even get many sentries.
That's some
per
juicy.
expedition,
It was indeed. Valve
resembling
gives
an
more
almost
description for
sentry
new
minion
players and
build
speed
as
between
you run
rooms.
around
Yeah,
and
exactly.
apply runic modifiers to monsters across the maps.
Like it's worth
The
actually
existing
running
version
Trial of
Elden
Chaos
League will
now.
continue to run. So if you want to keep playing there, finishing your endgame and completing challenges, feel free to do so.
I need to finish
So
them.
that's all our new content summarized for this Event League and 055 update. In case you didn't see it alongside Path of Exile 1's release for Curse of the Allflame, here's a reminder to check out our supporter packs and mystery box that release with it, which are now fully available for use in Path of Exile 2 as well. These include the Plague and Remedis supporter packs, and the Curse of the Allflame mystery box, with some epic items including armor sets, weapon skins, weapon effects, map devices, hideouts, a new tracking scroll, some otters, and much more. If you would like to purchase the Curse of the Allflame mystery box, it's available now through the in-game shop and Path of Exile 2 website. For more information, head to pathofexile2.com/mystery box for all the details. We'll also be releasing some cool new armor sets and skill effects alongside this release. Check these out. If you're interested, keep an eye out on the store with the new release.
Gassy was
Thanks for
right.
your support. Now, we had originally thought we were going to deploy a much larger balance pass in this patch. But unfortunately, with all the other work going on for our
They
1.0
just don't have time.
release,
They always
we
just
were
don't
not
have
able
time.
to get these changes ready in time.
This-
It's been a lot more work than we expected. So rather than deploy something substandard, we decided it would be better to take our time with the balance changes and just release the Event League anyway. All those balance changes that were slated for 055 will now be happening in 1.0 instead.
Oh, so there's no
The
changes.
full release patch is shaping up to be a huge one, and if you haven't done so yet, you can acquire exclusive milestone rewards just by signing up at pathofexile2.com for the 1.0 full release. Also, we hope you join us for ExileCon on November 7th New Zealand time to see what else we've been cooking up. But in the meantime, we hope you enjoy the Forbidden Rites event, which starts at the end of next week. See you in Rayclast. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D, so get your questions ready.
Ah. What do you think people are saying? Look. But why is my following and everyone gone? Oh, everyone else is saying Twitch is breaking so bad. Oh, it doesn't count as drops.
G'day and welcome back, Exiles. I'm joining you from around the world.
It's not
Ziggy in
counted as
Australia.
drops.
We've got Jonathan over at Gamescom. and
GTA is
we've got
broken
Mark in
Twitch.
New Zealand. So we're all over the place this time, coming at you remotely for some Q&A to talk about what we saw with the Duelist today, the 0.55 event update, and various other little questions that you might have in a bit of a mini Q&A session. Thanks for joining us from all over the place, folks. Jonathan, you're at Gamescom at the moment, where some lucky people are able to actually play the Duelist. How's it been going?
Absolutely. So yeah,
What-
it's honestly been great.
What's
It's
coming
really good to
in,
see players just being
in
able to play and experience the
0.55
game. It's
is
always fun. But you know, my voice is actually a bit screwed right now because I've been kind of
Just
yelling over
the
the
ritual,
loudness of the Gamescom,
basically.
you know, trying to
Ritual, a few
explain
a few
complicated
changes,
duelist mechanics, you know,
a
in
league
yelling
reset,
form. So my voice is a bit
some
messed
skins,
up. So hopefully you guys can forgive
and
that.
that's
But,
about it, really.
Yeah, it's always fun talking to to players and journalists and seeing what they think.
Yeah, have you been able to get some like good kind of in-person feedback there?
Why does
Since you're
Mark look
right there
weird?
with people as they're playing?
Yeah, for
Fast
sure,
for the first time?
absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's great. We've also got
Let me have Mark
Kevin
look
with me,
really
one of the
different.
designers, working on the Duelist as well. He's been able to get direct feedback, talk to players as well. It's been really good.
Awesome. And Mark, you're over in New Zealand where you were just working on the endgame builds that you showcased in that video there, which were pretty spicy. How are things going over there in the studio?
Well, I'm at home right now, but it's been pretty hectic. Just putting it always is for these deadlines, just pulling everything together. But yeah, these in-game builds we just had to put together in the last, honestly, honestly, it felt like the last week really is when I was like, okay, we've got to theory craft some epic shit. Let's put it together. And came up with, I said made by developers. Technically, that is true, but I kind of theory crafted both of them and was like, let's get cranking. And they both seemed pretty fun. I mean, they were definitely fun to play.
Hey,
Hopefully
this
they were fun
Mark,
to
this
watch.
Mark knows what he's doing. You know, he should be like
There's a
game
lot more
developer or
as
something
well.
like
So
that.
there's like, you know,
I did have Twitch drops on, but Twitch
dozen
is
builds
broken.
I had in mind, and I was like, oh, we were going to go with them, and we're going down a whole bunch of different.
That's why.
paths,
Do
and
you
it
know what I
just kind
said
of ended
earlier?
up,
Oh,
I
my
was like, I
Twitch ain't
wanna do
working. Look,
something
nothing's working.
traditional that
GTA is
uses a bunch
literally
of
broken
swords
Twitch.
and something
It's
demonic,
Kaisenet.
'cause why
Kaisenet
not?
is
So
streaming
it
to like
was quite interesting
270,000
that I
people.
ultimately just
Well,
got
if I go,
pick
let me go on it.
fantasy and then make it happen. But of course, the difference between me making builds and players making builds is you have to make a build with what works.
Yeah, you
whereas
can't. You
I
can't.
make a build
Nothing.
and then I'm like,
Nothing on Twitch.
go and
Everyone's
make it
offline.
happen, development team. Thank you.
Error
How you
loading.
change the balance until it works, basically.
Yeah.
Make this a thing. Well, you certainly have a lot to work there with the duelist. There is a lot going on there. I know, Jonathan, you personally were just telling me earlier that you're like very excited for the duelist in particular, and that it's the most fun you've had with the game so far, or
Like,
something to that
I
effect.
think GTA
Look,
is
I-
genuinely
I-
broken.
I really love this class. Like,
So you
I
get.
really love melee
Mark
combat
looks like
in
an
games,
angry
it's something
cat.
that I really enjoy.
You
and
get
this one really, honestly,
forbidden
I would say
rights in the
finally
campaign,
kind
so
of
obviously
built something that I
ritual.
would
The
say
trial
is
of chaos
melee
rework is
version of
massive.
RPG. Like, I
Faster
honestly
Fortress
really love it.
completion, which is obviously just do
But
the
also
do
just
the
there's
arbiter
so
and then
many
it goes bang bang
intricacies
bang
to
bang
the
bang
skill
and
design
completes it.
in this class that's
Runes
really
of
cool.
obviously
I
Aldo
think
is
we'll be able to
is
kind
now
of
core.
open so many different
You get the Wildwood encounters.
ways to kind of do
You get
mechanics
new
for
in-game
the
soul
talent,
cores,
the
the
laws
Abyssal
and
Ravines,
skills.
which means
Every
obviously they
skill
get
is
more
like
difficult
designed 3 or 4
as you
skills,
progress,
honestly, just
and then obviously the
different
expedition.
ways that
It
you can use
like
them.
it looks
But at
good
the
to
same
be fair.
time, it's like it's all quite diegetic, by which I mean like you kind of like there's metal in the ground, you electrify it, and now it's like zapping things and things like it's all kind of obvious in some ways, but also kind of complicated too because there's just so many ways you can use everything.
There's a ton of nuance to it, but even so, I had a chance to play it last time I was visiting, like a couple months back, and there's some sort of intuitiveness to how the skills end up working together, where you can almost play without reading some of those descriptions. I think, which is good because there's a lot of descriptions you did have to write for those, given the
It is kind of
complexity level there.
it is actually kind of interesting in the studio because the people who are more, I guess, stat focused are actually the ones that feel the class is more complicated and the ones who just like take it as they see it. Because if you look at the number of stat sets, it is kind of crazy because you'll have like it's like you've got a buried blade explosion, and then you've got to be like, okay,
Yeah,
buried
nothing's
blade, but it's
working.
got
I'm literally
electricity,
trying on my phone
and
as
then
well. It's
buried
not
blade
working.
explosion with with electricity,
RIP,
versus just
drops.
the electrical hits, and it just ends up being like half a dozen stat sets on every skill that you, which is what we call the different tabs that you see on the skill gem. So yeah, if your first experience of the game is like looking at the skill gem hovers and like looking at every single stat set, then you're not necessarily in for as good of a time as if you just like try out the skill and see what it does. I guess that's sort of quite different than what a lot of our skills have been like in the past. But I honestly really love it just because there's so many interesting ways to use the skills.
With this, just having such an extensive set of like skill interactions out of compared to anything you've had so far, how challenging is designing this one and getting it to work and be playable in that way, being say compared to the Huntress and the Druid?
Well, I'll tell you what, this is one of the hardest classes to design, and a lot of it was like, okay, swords are pretty much the most generic weapon ever, right? And you ask like 10 different people what a sword does, and they'll give you 10 different answers. Like, there are certain fantasies, and we kind of had to make sure we were delivering like pretty much anyone's fantasy of a sword, and there's like quite a few different ones, right? So, you have to go through. But I think the kind of like thing that ties it all together is that to me, swords are about like the kind of that flow feeling. That's what I kind of wanted to nail, and that's where the whole sort of ready stance thing kind of came from. So it took a lot of iteration to get there. I went through so many different designs of the way that swords could work. And eventually it's funny because the whole blood in the sand thing wasn't even part of the initial design. And at some point I realized that some of the stuff that we were designing was coming kind of close to that. And I'm like, oh yeah, hang on. In PoE 1, we've got this blood and sand theme. What if we actually took that and like effectively used that theme on top of some of the mechanics we were designing? And then it all kind of really rapidly came together after that. Like we suddenly realized, like, yeah, this is sort of the feel, like the theme of like physical stuff that we can go with for the duelist, and it ended up working really well. So I'm really happy with the way that ended up.
Yeah, the stance thing in particular, I remember when I was trying it, like, and you're talking about flow and how important that was. And I remember I was having an issue where I really wanted to get into ready stance and then move to the next monster to execute my next skill.
Right.
But that would break ready stance. But I noticed that that's something that you've solved in the new iterations. You've got this way
Yeah,
that can even
exactly.
carry through now.
Yeah, so since you played that, we added the idea that there are some skills that you can use without breaking ready stance, and in particular, the rending dash that you can use to sort of dash from one place to another. Having that be an option that you can do without breaking ready stance sort of allows for that repositioning that you can do, and it honestly speeds up quite a lot what you can do. I didn't use it that much in the demo that I was showing, but for actual like practical play, I highly recommend using it because you know, if you're someone who likes to zoom around, then using that skill can really add quite a lot to what you're doing.
I think people are probably a little bit confused in general about like the ready stance and the blood and sand as well. So how do those just effectively work ultimately?
Yeah. So fundamentally, what you've got here is that there are two different, at least two that we showed, ready stance skills. One of them kind of moves backwards as more defensive, and that's the sand one. If you stun a monster with that, then it's going to put you in sand stance. The other one is moving forward, more aggressive, and that one, if you hit a parried monster, it's going to put you in blood stance. So if you're into the sort of parry gameplay early on, then blood is the one for you. If you're more into, you know, if you're not into that, then using the sand one is like more your style. Then you can go that way. But all of it is bypassable with frenzy charges as well. So one of the questions that we often get is like, oh, you know, what if I don't want to parry? What if I don't want to do the stun stuff? And frenzy charges effectively act as your bypass. So as Mark showed in one of those builds there, yeah, combat frenzy is like a good way to be able to kind of like, you know, get those stances without that. But there's even other ways as well. So there's also support gems that allow you to get blood and sand without having to even do either of those skills as well, and like quite a few different options. Like there are actually a huge number of different options that
Got a couple
really
uniques
allow
as
for that.
well. We've got at
Yeah,
least
yeah.
one sand stance unique and one blood stance.
The info's on
weren't
Twitter.
shown.
And then there's also the thing of getting blood on the ground as a way to get blood on things like Cyclone. I actually didn't realize this was going to happen, but in one of my demos, I had one of those vampire monsters from Act 1, and it's like use one of those blood pools on the ground, and that actually triggered the blood. And I had no idea that we actually had done that even. Like, I didn't realize that those blood pools technically were the same mechanic. So yeah, you can like get blood.
Look how much it's broken. It didn't even tell you how many people are watching it or anything.
Well, that sort of touches on one of my other questions then. So, like, some people, I think, especially people who maybe just played a little bit of parry when Huntress first came out, and obviously since then it's changed quite a bit. But about parry, some people are definitely worried about parry. Like, they see that as like a negative for a class to be focused on.
Oh, there we go.
because
We're
of the bad
alive.
experience someone had with it or something. So, how has parry changed or been improved here, and also how like mandatory is it for the duelist playstyle there?
Well, certainly we didn't want it to be
Back.
mandatory because that was one of those things we did with the Huntress where parry was really important for that class initially. And we wanted to make sure that it wasn't here. That being said, it is a duelist. I want parry to be a thing for it. So, like, you know, we did want at least one of the archetypes to involve that. But at the same time, one of the big issues that we've had with parry, kind of two things really. Like, it just comes down to unreliability. So there's a new change that we've just implemented for parry, which was actually quite complicated to do. And it's a little bit complicated to explain as well. But effectively, what we've done is we've made it so that when you're parrying, your character is effectively enlarged for against skills that are parryable. So that means that you'd kind of have this problem before where you'd feel like you would try to parry something, and it looked like the monster would kind of hit you, but it just didn't. And that was happening all the time, and like one of the frustrating things about parry. So what we've done is now that we've made this change, it means that monsters hit you much more reliably when you're parrying, and so it just makes the whole thing a lot better. But the other issue that we had as well is just boss fights. Like some boss fights just don't really have a lot of
Mark
parryable
looks
attacks.
absolutely
And that's where
shattered.
the shield thing comes in. We can do the shield.
It looks like
dash
he's
to
about
allow
to
you
pass
parry a
out.
monster
Poor
even when
lad.
they're not attacking you. So that one's kind of like it also can be used during clearing as well. But I sort of saw that as fixing like the boss fight problem of like, yeah, just some bosses just don't have abilities that easy parry. So it makes the whole thing a lot more reliable in any context right there. So both of those changes together really do improve the feel quite a lot compared to what we had before. And honestly, like, I mean, I love to parry personally, but as I said, even with that said, we know it's not for everyone, so we wanted to make sure there's other options too.
Yeah, that shield, the Buckler shield bash parry was super satisfying when I was messing around with that. So
It is one of those things that's so hard to explain to people though, because where do you even put the tutorial?
Is
for
Mark
that?
alright?
Like,
Is
just
Mark
kind of
alright?
like an extra thing on your native skill that you've got, like, you know, just
Mark,
the
are
shield
you
that you've got
alright?
right from the beginning. You know, normally people don't look at the videos for like the base skills like that. Like technically there are videos for it. If you
I'm
go
gonna
to
ask.
the alt
Go
menu,
ask.
you can get to it. But yeah, nobody's really
It's
there
Mark.
looking for that. So it's kind of hard to find where to explain that.
Can't
But
type.
I guess anyone who listens to this live stream will know about it. And hopefully that'll slowly make its way through the community.
yeah, I was going to ask because like I didn't even know about that until you told me.
My
about
message
it.
failed to
Pretty
send.
brilliant.
A couple more parry things there for a bit later as well. We
Should we have a look?
not
Should we,
that I'm
should we
first
I don't want to
with.
refresh it. So we refresh
we
it.
have
It's
a
probably
new
going to go.
reservation skill called codenamed Arcane Parry right now, which is effectively it charges up, and then when you parry, it does a much more significant shockwave comes out of you, just to like allow for a lot more area of effect coverage.
That means that all those monsters get parried as well. By the way, so the point of this is to effectively make
This
so
event
that,
league
we had
economy
this
is
thing
so
before,
dead.
there was a period there where parry was like you had a really huge range, and it was good for endgame. And
The best
we didn't
the best
really like that it was so
currency
much
farm right
so they
now
added,
needs
this
to.
kind of, like, effect
Seems to
it,
be
actually making it into a
bloody
mechanic that you can do with the spirit
thingy.
reservation. Now it becomes a thing that we can much more readily accept.
Trial of
It's a good
Chaos.
way
How you
to
doing,
actually
Sonic?
make
Anyway,
parry
you good?
viable in endgame as well, by just making it hit like a much larger area.
That parry fix where you're enlarged, is that in 0.55 or is that a 1.0 alongside Duelist change?
It's
I think
probably
GTA is
1.0,
generally
imagine.
broke Twitch.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it'll be 1.0.
All right. What were you saying?
But yeah, we also have a new unique helmet coming, which causes your war cries to parry enemies.
What?
And then in the full radius. And we also have we're currently trying, we're hoping we can get this, but just so that if people want to play two-handed sword and want to still engage with it, we're trying a two-handed sword base type that grants parry, and you can parry with that. So that'll be a very specific base type.
I'm excited about that.
Base type
definitely.
Yeah.
I was definitely a little sad to see that you couldn't parry with the two-hander, but I kind of get not wanting them all to be the same. So having the differences there, because so you can parry with the dual wield swords, which is obviously a unique thing to swords, and you can parry with the buckler, all the armor evasion shield bases, right? Like the other ones as well. So you've got the parry with those, but that lets you a unique two-handed sword parry. That's pretty cool. I mean, it does make more work for yourselves. That means even more animations, right? You have to make a two-handed parry animation now.
Sure.
Just for that.
Sure. You know, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
I was going to ask about the animations actually, because these are definitely sort of the cooler animations that we've seen so far, and also just
They definitely are.
like
Your Twitch isn't working, so don't even try to refresh it. Okay, I won't try.
Some real kind of like
Twitch is dead. What is happening?
To some of the movements.
Twitch, I
and stuff.
can't load
Obviously, it's
anything.
over the top, like giant
I
sword
think
slams
so.
and stuff, but some of the like movements.
I had
and,
a
like,
I had a
some
quick
cycling
look
where the
because
swords twist
mine
around
weren't
and swords
working
are
properly, and I had a
handled
quick
and stuff.
look.
I'm like, oh, this,
And like
someone
Kaiser
knows
Net were on it, and he was
swords
streaming to
are
like
handled.
250,000
It has done a
people.
phenomenal job.
I
Not
think
only with the animation itself, but also just researching
I
stuff.
think
I
GTA
actually
is
had someone at
genuinely
Gamescom,
broken
like a
Twitch.
journalist say to me that they actually know how to, they've used a sword and done some blade practice.
But
and,
I'm not saying it's
the
GTA.
first thing he said
Path of
was,
Exile, Path of
how did
Exile,
did
it was that
hire
hyped. It's
anyone
broken
to, like,
Twitch.
advise about this? And
Everyone's
I was
so
like,
hyped
no,
for this league.
our animator's just really interested in this stuff. And what they do is he's got like a weighted sort of weighted plastic blade that he's got in the studio, and he can film video reference of himself like doing things, and sort of get some of that to get video of it that then he can use to kind of work out how to do the movements. But he's just really interested in all of this kind of stuff, and he does a lot of research, like watching YouTube videos of actual people like doing this stuff, and it's resulted in like just a really
Working for
amazing
you now.
set of animations. Like,
Yeah, mine's
so
kind of
obviously
like
some of
working
this
a little bit, but
animation
it's still missing
Yeah, I would have
content. Look,
believed if you had said like, oh yeah, we had some Hebrew guy came in.
it's not letting me send messages.
That's really impressive work. So some great stuff. Yeah, it looks super wicked. But at the same time, like you've also not been afraid to go a bit over the top there. One of the press images with a gigantic anime.
Yeah. I mean,
hilarious.
there has to be some level of anime inspiration if you're talking about swords. For certain things, like as I said before, like everyone's got different fantasies about what being a swordsman means, and the sort of anime sword thing is definitely one of those.
Some of the swords would be cool as hell.
Yeah, you've tried to touch on all of those. You definitely got that dash in kind of.
The flicker was like
anime
underwhelming.
thing where they slice and then fall apart afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
But then
you
could probably figure out a way to
in the video, really,
constantly
but,
keep
we
that
actually have some
charge.
tech now where all the monsters are capable of being sliced into pieces. So it actually works. Like all the monsters are being like split up, and then we can. It's actually a mechanic. You know what? Actually, one of the in-game builds had it, didn't it? Where you slice monsters up. And then we've even got mechanics to take advantage of that, like the one
Twitch
that makes,
message is broken.
Some of the chunks explode after they get sliced up.
Yeah,
so it's an actual thing now. We kind of originally did it just as a visual cool thing, but we turned an actual game mechanic as well now, so that's kind of interesting too.
I had the meat chunks on bleed. I think we're calling them meat chunks internally. Meat chunks on bleed, but I didn't have the meat chunks on slice and dice or whatever.
Can't find my channel.
No, with that.
I've been banned, mate. I've been banned from Twitch.
Right.
All up, I know that this has been a pretty challenging class to showcase, and it's something we chatted about quite a bit. How you wanted to like show, the campaign and the end game. And I think like having both of those here in this showcase has been really good for people, so they can see and have like kind of like that full picture. Obviously, you wanted the slower technical stuff to show like how the animations work, how the interactions work, and then you wanted the end game to show like what people can aspire to. But how well do you think overall that you've been managed to communicate the duelist here? Because I feel like it's a hard thing to nail down without actually playing it.
Mostly because, like, you can see the fluidity, sort of, but you don't really know how it feels. So,
It was cool
that's
how
the
that
one
was
of the reasons
showing
why it was so
like
community to show
2
at
point something mil
Gamescom so much
damage,
people get their
and
hands
it
on
didn't even have an ascendancy.
yeah, honestly, it's just been really good. Like, a lot of people really enjoyed it. So I think I think I was a little bit worried, right? Because like I was worried, like, will people understand ready stance and so on? And we were so worried about it. We're like, okay, we need to have some like signs up that explain ready stance. We need to make sure there's a tutorial in this Gamescom build that we've got for this, just for that to make sure it works. And if all else fails, we've got Kevin who can just walk around and tell people if they're not doing it. That's the just like really certain that everyone understands the mechanic. But yeah, like honestly, once you feel it, once you feel the flow, it totally makes sense. And honestly, even like some of the design meetings I'll have, I'm just like sitting there, just like doing ready stance attacks. I'm like, oh, like I'll sometimes just like lose track of time, just sitting there like doing it. It's just so fun to actually do. Yeah, I really enjoy that part.
So those endgame builds look very spicy. I know a fear was that like some people would feel that swords were too weak or too slow because you were showing just that early campaign side of things.
Yeah.
But if anything, after seeing like those endgame builds, I'm wondering like almost the opposite. Is like, is there a risk here that like the endgame power level of players has just become so high that opportunities to enjoy some of that deeper gameplay is becoming like too far and like too few and far?
It is a potential concern for sure. Balance will be tricky, I suspect, to get.
Yeah,
right.
but the power level
all
hasn't
those
gone
things
too
are sort of
high.
like the current balance, but maybe Mark, you've got some more theories about that.
Those builds when they were getting filmed, I was like, they're just too strong. They're too strong. And I think even Jonathan, you had some feedback. You're like, just make them a little bit weaker. Like you don't need to one hit literally everything. And I was like, we're already filming these in tier 25 map equivalents with like
I know. There was a problem at one point like that.
Is it unassisted? I'm like, what am I supposed to do? But yeah, they're just there's some obviously though we're like putting together a class for demonstration purposes for like a convention and to put together these builds. Like obviously we still have some more work to do with respect to that balance kind of side of things, but it's definitely very, very powerful right now. Some of that dust has to calm down, but that's okay. We'll get there. These things take a lot of time to iterate on, and of course, we have till December 11th to do that. So I'm not concerned about the amount of time. In fact, we've never had a class this ready with this much time, so that's a good thing. But yeah, it means we can make even more builds, get even more ready, have the balance be ideally in the best spot.
Yeah, but what
Hopefully
about
players will agree? But
what about everything else that's coming in 1.0?
Definitely. I would say right now it is too OP for sure. Like, it's. I mean, I've played through the campaign a whole bunch of times on it, and I'm just like, I shouldn't be this powerful. Like comparatively with everything else. Like I get that people at Gamescom might not have the same kind of, because like that's you're starting in Act 5, you're on a pre-made character. What is the gear even like? It's like not necessarily optimized and all of that. So, people there are probably going to have a different experience. But what you see is very strong.
Also...
But again, and that is filmed in. I understand tier 25 map. What does that mean? We have obviously we can just set the levels of any area. That is a tier 25 map equivalent of filming for those in-game builds. So yes, there are some power concerns, but it's again with this much time, it should be pretty easy to deal with it. It's nothing new really.
Yeah, I mean, so this is like way earlier than you've ever been able to showcase class. So getting that hands-on in the public, it gives you lots of time to make those tweaks and see all those points that people are like, oh, people keep missing this detail.
So it's going to look totally different.
Like, oh, you can do that. You'll get to kind of learn where those pain points potentially are.
Yeah, tier 25.
Mark, I noticed a bejeweled implicit on Oro's sacrifice.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, okay. I've mentioned a few cool base types. So we just to clarify, there was the two-handed sword, with ready stance. No, sorry, with parry, right? And these are base
Yeah.
types. So we've put a lot of
Oh.
effort into making the base types of swords real,
Oh, sick.
real like epic. And honestly, I want to then propagate it to every other weapon type. To be honest, so we've got, just to clarify before we get to Bejeweled, we've had parry two-handed sword. We showed a base parry duration one-handed sword. What was the other one we showed? Two-hander. There was the buried blades are ancestrally boosted that we showed in that video. And then
Sick.
Oro Sacrifice has
17.
Bejeweled, which is the base type property of the Twilight Longsword, I believe it's called. And
Oh, that was unique.
it
Awesome.
means that item comes with a dual socket instead of regular sockets.
That's cool.
So it's not necessarily better, but it's sort of interesting, and it's trying to just create a bunch of different things with all the different base types where, that whole suite of them that will drop at end game. So currently, like a lot of weapons, you probably get like 5 base types at end game, maybe 6. Pretty much the entire sword line will have a end game counterpart with all the implicits, just because we've put a lot of cool stuff there. And you do still have your traditional, here's the one that's high attack speed, here's the one that's got some crit, here's the one that's just the bonk damage and all of that. But then all the others we've tried to make sure have really special implicits, and that includes the base type of Oro Sacrifice. So yeah, hopefully people enjoy it and think it's cool, but I definitely was pretty excited about it. And honestly, I find now the base type itself like has some build enabling properties, which I would say hasn't really happened before. So I'm excited to see having that extra axis of like, damn, what sword do I want to use? There's like 3 or 4 options here. I don't know what to do. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I love these bases with like weird implicits that do interesting things like that. So I hope that is something you propagate out to the rest of the game there. Love it. Let's talk about what's coming up in the nearer future for people to get their hands on with. But first, you did mention that you were hoping originally to get a big balance pass in 0.055 in the lead up to launch, but now that's the bulk of that at least is being pushed until launch. Is there some stuff that you feel like you really want to get in before then, though? Is there anything that you do want to get into 0.55 potentially?
Well, want to and realistically possible are the 2 things that are at clash here. I wanted to get all of it in. It just wasn't coming together in a way that wasn't just going to. Like the things with this is you can't like half-ass it and deploy it. If you remove all of X and don't do all of Y, it's just like, okay, why did you just remove all of that? I don't understand. And we weren't just able to bring those packages of changes together, especially while we've got a whole new class in development, getting fully balanced and prepared. And that made it even twice as hard because, as Jonathan's mentioned in the past, and we've talked about, every single time we make a new class, we end up changing every system under the sun. And then we want some of those in and some of those not in. And it was just this giant ruckus of, it's like a kind of just massive writhing changes everywhere. And it was so hard.
Literally just merging the changes was a disaster. Like just like picking the things, like the commits, like did these ones go in, did those ones not go in? Like we're in the middle of doing like a massive bleed revamp in order to do the duelist, and yet we also want to try to somehow like what parts of that need to go in and what parts don't, and like it's just like such a crazy puzzle. And we are at the point where literally like our producers were like, we don't know if we can make a build of this. Of like what you want, like we've got a bunch of changes. We don't think we can even create a build that works in the timeline that we need it to be. So yeah, it was challenging even on that level. But not only that, there was the issue of just like more changes were needed, like more things needed to actually happen as well.
For example, to support echoing strikes, we had to make it. We effectively refactored our entire cloning system, which kind of touched on every single skill in the game. And it's like, okay, well, we don't want that because it's untested, has a bunch of ramifications and stuff we still need to iterate on. Yet now any change we have to make to every single skill now has a conflict when we're trying to merge it to the actual build. And honestly, it was just turning into an absolute disaster. And it was like, okay, this just isn't going to be ready, and we're just going to have to keep delaying it, and to the point where like, what are we even going to get here? And yeah, it just wasn't really feasible, honestly, and it was causing us. I mean, honestly, I would say that working around all of that was making everything take significantly longer. And then all of a sudden, now we're getting less done because we're having to work around that, and it was just not coming together.
The annoying thing about this,
It is sad, and I am real gutted about it because there's a lot of like real cool stuff there. Like we have
is the new
Ascendancy class
the
reworks,
new
we
mini
have,
league now.
you know, many new uniques, reworked uniques. We have just stuff
There's
everywhere.
no point
and I was
changing
like,
things
man,
up.
this stuff
Do
is
you know
cool.
what
And
I
I was
mean?
even just describing it all to
Like,
Jonathan and how excited I was
people are
about
just
it.
going
And
to
I was
play
like,
the same builds.
"No,
Folks
I
probably going to play
want
Ice
it all in
Strike,
there, but
Ice
it
Shot.
just
Someone's going to play
honestly
this. Someone's going to
wasn't
play this.
production-wise
And
feasible at all. So
With it,
it's sad.
It'll be a fresh economy, which is
Go ahead.
good.
It is more for one
But everyone knows
so
what
that's
to
always
target.
good.
For everyone that's made
Yeah, I was gonna say, with it being such like a
multiple
eldritch horror
divines
of
this league,
interconnected
is going to
balance
make him in
changes there,
0.5.5.
are you worried about putting
And
that
again,
at
it's only for a
1.9 then?
month,
'Cause that's
so
like-
No,
it's
that's
only
the thing,
it's
is
what's
difference
coming
is-
next
the
week,
difference
which
is
is
that,
the
when we're
what is
making
it,
like
like
an
3rd of
055 patch,
September.
what we're doing is we're
Then it
taking
goes until the 3rd of
changes
October.
from our kind of
What
like
do we do
development
for
version,
another
we merge
2
them in.
months?
But when we're going to make a new, entirely new release, that's what's called a retag.
Like we're going to bring out
Effectively,
another
like,
PoE
taking
2, a
everything
PoE
that we
league.
have on our development version.
Is the
and
game
all
going to
it's all
die? They're
gonna
going to
go live.
disappear?
So there's not like this kind of same production hell that you get when you're trying to like make a
Ooh.
build out of parts
I
from
think
the
he means
development
from
version.
the test. I think he means from the testability sake, maybe.
Well,
or
I mean,
like-
sure, I guess so. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's always that, but you know, I mean, look, 1.0 is going to get a hell of a lot of testing. You know, like obviously, you know, there's a lot of stuff to do there, so our QA team will be all over that.
we got more time
most
now to
definitely.
make sure it's right as well. So
Yeah, for sure.
Since most of the balance changes are being deferred to 1.0, I won't like dive into too many of the balance related questions at this point, since it's all still obviously quite a ways away. But one of the things we did discuss was the plus levels side of things, and that is probably the one that came up the most. And I know you guys said in the past that you were reviewing some changes in 0.5 from that to see how that they landed. But it does seem like plus levels are still seen as quite a bit of a problem, crowding out uniques and increasing inavailability in some cases as well with some of the stuff from the Runes of Aldor. So how are you feeling about plus level balance overall at this point now, or moving forwards towards 1.0? Is that on your radar there?
It is still on the radar, yes. I haven't actually done the changes for it yet, and I don't 100% know exactly what to do, but I mean, we've had probably 15 discussions about it now, so it's one of those, it's turning into the next dexterity for sure. And we'll see.
Oh.
We'll see. We'll end up somewhere for sure. I just don't know exactly what that is right now. But
Well, they need to
it's,
nerf plus
it's
levels
the
on like
second
spells
on
and
the
skill
spreadsheet.
stuff like
There's
that.
like a spreadsheet called
Like plus
Mark to do something.
plus-
and it's the
plus
second
levels
one.
onto
So
like
it's the
wands
What's,
and
what's
spells.
number one out of
You're at a
interest?
range.
We're having another
You-
balance
there's
meeting
less
today
chance
to
you're dying.
discuss it. So, what
But
is
for
number one?
melee,
It's probably
there's
just
a
whatever I
huge
added
chance that
last.
you'll
Number
die.
one is reserved for this hasn't been sorted in the list
And
yet.
it scales so well. If I
Okay.
could
So I,
go
always, I just insert
and
at the
get a
top of
jewel.
the sheet when I add stuff. So, and then it gets
I
repriority.
see.
and it might increase
That one
my
stays at
flicker
number
strike
2.
by
I see. Okay.
10,000.
Yeah,
But
it
then
is
I can get
discussed,
plus
like,
3 to flicker strike,
some of the things
and it'll
being kicked
increase my
around, I've seen,
DPS by
I don't
like
know what's a good solution and what's not, and
200,000.
for what reasons here,
It's
but
crazy.
have you discussed like, maybe like level 30 is the cap that you can reach for gems, or limiting the amount you can get there, or is it more of something you're looking at, well, it's maybe just about getting the numbers right, like we just want to bring those down to certain levels? Where do you kind of feel it is?
Caps have, well, there is a cap, but yes, caps have been discussed. I think the important thing we want to do is not kill. Well, honestly, I would say there is a few problems with like caster itemization, and I want to make sure
Yeah.
that we don't just take away that itemization. Even very early in the game, caster itemization isn't as good as it could be. But it's really hard when you're dealing with fundamental mod pools. Like even early game runes are not as impactful, obviously, for casters, right? Where you get like flat damage ones for attackers and casters don't, and it propagates all the way through. And I get that some of the leagues have added some, breach caster items, for example, have added some in-game itemization, but there is a more fundamental problem here for sure. So I don't. I just don't want to make the itemization for casters worse. Let's make it really. That's honestly how it is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you come up with there then.
I get that it extends further than just casters, but like that's
Need more
the main thing
variety
of not
for
wanting
all
to
about
ruin.
being able to choose.
Yeah,
I
there's
know
always
what
separate discussions there.
fire left
everyone
with
has a
an
different
S.
perception of like, you know,
Well, you can. The
what is good itemization
the
or
gloves
not. I'm
change
talking
it,
about
don't
just
they?
generally what we believe to be good itemization as
With
opposed to
Yeah,
obviously the
I don't-
martial artist.
I don't necessarily see an inherent problem with plus levels. I think it's just that the power level of it and its availability is high to the point where it does crowd out other item choices. So it feels like you're, you know, if it's not
He has
that,
a
then
point. He does have a
it's not
point.
worth
Like,
using,
if you've
effectively.
got
we
if you've
definitely
got
have
a
thing
quarterstaff
now where every single caster unit
with the
that
exact
gets
same
made, it's like,
stats, and
doesn't
one of them
have
had
plus
+5
general
to melee
sucks.
skills, and
And
one of them had
even
no
with
+5.
all of the new
The
units
+5
that
will
we're
just scale your
making, it's
damage
like,
so much more.
you kind of want to default to be like, this needs +4, this needs +6, this needs plus, and it's like, do we really have to put this on literally everything?
Yeah,
But
that's when you start
to
to wonder.
compare, like, you know, in the same way that you're making a when you're making a weapon, like generally you can't just be like, nah, I'm not going to put any damage mods on it. So like a martial weapon. So it just doesn't feel quite the same, and I do understand why. I've discussed that before, but anyway, we'll see what happens, but we will do something.
All right. So the Forbidden Rites event. So just to clarify, folks,
Do you mean
this
like
being
where
an
you can
event
put
is
the
different
rune
to
in
a
it in the
regular
weapon?
expansion. It's a different
Which
thing entirely.
changes
It's not
all
a
your elemental
league and
damage
expansion
to,
in that same way.
um,
So what
cold,
of
for
the
instance.
changes that you talked about are specific to this Forbidden Rites event versus core game changes here as well?
Yeah,
Yes,
so
what's
this is
that?
our first time ever that we've had a league be both running and core.
Yeah.
And we just noticed there was a lot of people still playing Runes of Elder. We didn't want to end it. So we wanted to keep that running. So we've had to do a large number of hacks to both support something being core and not. But
It's weird.
the tablets are for the event and standard league. So the because the league is in every area in Runes of Elder, you don't get tablets to further it. What else have we changed there? I mean, you don't get remnants in every area during the event, but you can once you start using tablets. And you know, it's honestly for those who've obviously played leagues and seen leagues go core, or people who played our previous leagues for PoE2, like Fate of the Val, and then you know the Temple became core. Ultimately, it should feel like all the content from Runes of Elder is now in its core state while you're playing in the event and standard leagues. And if you continue to play Runes of Elder, you should notice no difference. That's pretty much it. We have made some changes, like obviously it's not introduced now until, so currently in the Forbidden Rites event, the content, the characters aren't introduced until Act 4 when you're doing the quest in Act 4. So you won't see any through Act 1, 2, and 3. What else is different there? I think the only other thing we may have, I'm pretty sure we changed it, is, which I don't know how people are going to respond to this one, but we've removed from the Forbidden Rites and Standard League, so it's not in the current Runes of Elder, it didn't want to affect the economy, but Elder Saga, the mods from it are now in the core mod pool of what can generate on logbooks, as opposed to requiring that item. You'll have to determine the rarity yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And
That would actually
then
be
we've
good.
replaced that outcome from the Remnant encounters, just so that the entirety of the end game for that isn't just Elder's Sagaing, and that's it.
Awesome. Good stuff. The ritual, speaking of like the end game here for the league, for the new league, the event, the Sacred Bloom from the rituals that lets you add the Sacred Wildwood to maps. How rare are these roughly? Is that something we could be applying to every decent
I
map,
didn't
or
know
just
it's a
kind
league
of the
start
most
now with
juiced
this new
ones because it's
this
going to
new
be very
league.
valuable? It's a big thing,
It's
being able to get the Wildwood.
It's about 1 in 5 maps to get one about, but
Okay.
give or take. So yeah, you're not going to run every map, but of course it's tradable. So
yeah,
feel free to just go ahead and buy them. So yeah, I don't know. I think that was a pretty decent rate, but you know, we may still iterate on that.
That seems like the sort of thing you could
fancy
easily
playing
like
something new,
afford
you know.
to run fairly frequently then. With that being the case, back in when we had this before in Affliction League, it was probably the most insane juicing thing we've ever had.
Maybe no monk.
So both in terms of difficulty and reward, which is really cool for a number of reasons. Like obviously people like big loot explosions, but also you could make like the hardest monsters of all time outside of like, you know, deepest delves. Is this potentially going to be a similarly spicy thing for Path of Exile 2?
it's obviously pretty hard to compare the drops because it's just an entirely different drop ecosystem. Like, are you going to be having to hover and identify 100 heavy belts in every map? Probably not, you know. But for those who that is my strict memory of Affliction is like I am so sick of looking at heavy belts on the ground.
Yep.
You know, I think they actually got 2 mirrors in that league as well, which I feel like shouldn't happen, but maybe even more than
A
that.
mirror.
I don't
Oh,
even go
what's
anymore.
that?
Yes, I have equal memories of Affliction. Don't worry about that. But the way that the wisps scale the monsters is a bit different anyway.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
instead of just rarity, PoE1 did rarity, quantity, and chance for items to be currency, I believe as it was. Instead, here what we've done is blue wisps turn monsters magic, normal monsters magic, yellow wisps add mods to rare monsters, and purple wisps add rarity to everything. So purple, magenta, and so if you're stacking rare monsters, obviously yellow and purple is the right combination to get. So are you going to expect the same levels of juice? Hard to say. It should definitely be a good alternate way to juice in-game maps compared to say something like Delirium right now. And of course,
It's gonna be broken.
you
It's
can
gonna be
stack both of
broken.
them. So
Literally.
To some degree, of course, because they both get better with tablets, so they are contesting with one another. But
Run rituals.
You can just run both and
Get
stack
that
it with
that
everything
little
else
that little thingy.
is in the
Jump
in-game
in,
currently. So
juice your map with
should
the
be-
purples and
should be
stuff,
pretty out there.
and then that'll
Pretty
probably
crazy.
that'll give you currency.
Right
And then
on.
maybe throw a Delirious in it.
Just rapid fire. The
Delirium.
Trial of Chaos was the changes there look amazing. It was one of my least favorite parts of the game. So those changes, there's huge sort of improvements there. I love to see that. Is Sekima's likely to get a similar treatment in some way on the way to 0.1.0? It's not as bad in my opinion, but still be good to see.
It is in terms of content, that existing content that needs improving. It is the next, like as an actual in content, not like character side or balance or anything. It is
Yep.
the next thing on our list that is the worst thing.
The next worst.
So yes, we definitely want to, but obviously lot to do for the end of the year. So we'll have to see if we can fit it in, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, like if not, I would say if not for release, then you'd look at it for 1.1 kind of territory for sure. But honestly, the changes we made to Trial of
Oh, I'm
Chaos
so
are
tired.
it's so much better. Like holy, oh my god. And it should never have been in that state. Like I was writing and reading all the patch notes, and I was just like, we should never have had to write this. This should not have ever needed to have been a patch note. This is like horrendous. And I'm
Got
sure
there
when
in
we
the
get
end.
through Trial of Sekimas, we're going to have a similar situation going on. So it's not as bad. At least there's like a kind of strategy there to some degree and ways to make money and, divines. But yeah, it needs a substantial amount of love for sure.
Awesome. Good to hear it then. So a few more rapid fires on the end game. The challenge level of end game caps out pretty early currently. That's good for build diversity, honestly. But it does mean that there are some limited options for like testing your more powerful characters. Uber bosses and more challenging like end game content. That's something on the radar for maybe for 1.0 or something.
I don't want to commit to like higher tiers of boss content and difficulty to too much of a degree, especially with respect to Uber bosses, until we have the character balance in the right spot. And in theory, 1.0 should have them in the right spot. But you know how balance goes with these things, with live service products in particular. And similar to PoE1, right? It's every single league we have balance changes. So it's one of those infinite tasks. That being said, I definitely don't want to add Uber boss content until we've felt like that's in a stable spot for sure. I actually went out of my way to play a number of kind of atrocious builds this league. Just like I picked literally the worst thing, the things that were being played the least, and I played them. And honestly, fighting those pinnacles with those characters was insanely difficult. And I was like, if we were to add content beyond this, it's just impossible. It's just not going to even be possible. It was actually like And I played a good character as well, and I was just like, okay, we need to we've got some work to do here before we go and create a bunch of content that a bunch of players will literally never be able to even achieve, even if they did everything right. Because the character balance is the low end is just not in the right spot at all, and honestly, the very very top end, the top 1% kind of builds, is not in the right spot either. So, once we get that, I'm hoping to be able to actually start, thinking about it.
Okay,
But I
yeah.
mean, the Wildwood will go
Makes sense.
towards making things harder. So rest
True,
assured.
yeah.
Well, that's good though, isn't it? Like the
Some
Wildwood
juicing
making things
potential
harder.
there.
That's
There's been
very
a few
good.
questions about the state of tablets, focusing on tablet management, trading, rolling them, the work that kind of goes into getting the modifiers that you want for your in-game farming strategies. You get it compared to things like scarabs, which have those set effects. So they've got that double whammy of like random modifiers and the limited uses. What do you like or not like about current tablet design? Is this something you're thinking about at all, or is this kind of the first time you've heard that brought up? Yeah, how are you guys feeling about tablets overall there?
We've actually discussed it pretty in depth recently when
Oh,
also
cool.
talking about PoE 1 with respect to like the current state of endgame there and talking about all of the changes we want to make around there and how it compares to PoE 2 and what parts do we like and not like. Personally, I really like the tablet, the mod rolling side of things. And what
I
we've
think we
found
do.
is generally over time, there is at least an audience that are more aligned towards wanting determinism, and
Yeah.
thus the mod rolling can get phased out. And I actually think that this has been a big part of the discussion where we're looking at this. I feel like by adding more determinism and removing these like random axes, the strategies end up becoming quite dull and then have to just be balanced around that determinism, and then they get neutered, and then you've just lost kind of everything because everything is all equal and everything's all balanced. And it's had that effect. Like, definitely it's had that effect as to where the fine line is between the kind of mod rolling and the determinism. I'd say that it's something we still have to kind of figure out, but I'm quite happy with how that is right now, where there's like some crazy stuff you can do, but it requires specific tablets with specific mods. And so, yeah, I immediately, I caught us, we were actually doing this for 055. I was like, all of a sudden I saw a bunch of the really spike modifiers getting kind of like people pushing to nerf this, nerf that, get this in line with the rest of the content. And I was like, let's not do that right now. I think there's one or two that like, okay, I understand the beyond reason, but I was like, let's pull back some of that because I want to actually reevaluate how much power you should be able to get out of these random modifiers as opposed to things that are just baseline always on. So yeah, there's still some evaluation
God,
to
I'm
do
so
there,
tired, me.
but personally, I'm quite happy with it. I love that you get some tablets that are out of control.
Like Jonathan. When Jonathan's
and
fallen asleep, look at him.
cause you to have, well, my recent demonstration, an army of
Look at him.
sentinels or sentries following you around, adding runes to everything. We have some crazy stuff with the expression. I mean, the expression
Jonathan
tablet
is
mod is
so
actually
good to
a
sleep.
lot larger and has a lot more spike stuff at the top. So I'm actually quite curious to see how people feel about that in the Forbidden Rites, to see how that plays as well. We've tried to make sure that mod pool is larger than the other tablet mod pools to see if that is a something people resonate well with or not well with as well. So yeah, you can.
Okay.
Anyway, my point being, like, we still haven't quite. We're still discussing it, and we're
Is
still
that
kind of
it?
testing some stuff with the tablets. And Forbidden Rites will reveal some of that, but ultimately, personally, I'm pretty happy with where it sits overall.
Awesome. Yeah, it's good to hear it's in discussion then. One thing I saw that was like maybe an easy win was to get bookmarks in for the in-game trade, because I think people use that for convenience when trying to trade this stuff, and being able to set those up and bookmark those would be pretty sweet.
Pretty sure that is a thing.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
interesting.
we have we have favorite trades and recent trades as two things that are internally, as of yesterday, implemented on PoE 2.
Oh, hell yeah.
Internally,
Awesome.
not for
I
us
think
though.
it was on gamepad and or console, and now it's on keyboard mouse as of yesterday internally, and that we should be able to get that into 055.
Oh, nice.
Excellent. Easy
Nice,
win.
that's
Good to
good.
hear. Well, I will let you folks go, and we've got a race to prepare for. To swap over to here in just a moment. Looking forward to casting out as the grand final of the qualifiers.
Yeah.
It's going to be a spicy one for sure. So, thanks very much for joining me, Mark and Jonathan, for the Q&A here once again, and best of luck with the
Thank you
rest
very
of
much
your
for
shipment.
hosting. It's always a pleasure to have you to ask the questions, and hopefully you guys enjoy the Duelist when you finally get to play it on December the 11th when the game comes out.
Look forward to
So,
seeing what you have in store for us at ExileCon as well. We'll see you
yeah,
folks then, maybe.
absolutely. Well, there's certainly a
Thanks,
lot more
everyone.
stuff to announce. Yeah, thanks everyone.
Cheers,
See
thanks,
you
Ziggy.
later.
I'd love to go to ExileCon. Right, speaking of going, I'm gonna go as well because I am tired. I'm gonna go watch the new Batman TV show. I'll catch you all in a bit. I'll have a look. Maybe have a look what I want to play in 0.55. I might go for something totally different. Might put a poll out on YouTube. Maybe play the least play build of 0.4 of 0.5. Watch a show called Bad Thoughts. I will. I'll put it on my list. I've literally got so much. I've got so much to do, so much to watch. Sorry, I've got loads. I'm gonna watch that new Batman, and then I'll probably fall asleep. I went into work today to do some work, so I'm shattered. The difference between physically tired and mentally tired, and I'm mentally tired. Do Wheel of Exile, what like I did before. It was alright, but it didn't work out as well as I'd liked it to have done. Like, what did he give me? Like a bloody thingy with it. A Titan. I might play an Oracle. I've never played an Oracle. I've not played an Oracle. I've not played an endgame Titan. I've not played an endgame Witch, Infernalist. But the only things I played in endgame is Witch Hunter, Gemlin, Invoker, Chiola, Martial Artist. I think what else. I don't think I've done. I ain't done like Deadeye or Pathfinder or anything like that. To be fair, I have an idea what I might do. I might do my my run and gun build again with a Witch Hunter. The one where it's like I just hold and piercing rounds and run around. Yeah, gee. Team looks good. I'll have to look on PoE. Like PoE Ninja and see what it is. Right, anyway, I'm going. I'll catch you all in a bit.